The Chiefs fall to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo by the final score of 28-21. And with this loss, the Chiefs move to 5-4 on the season, and the Bills advance to 6-2. A tale as old as time. The Bills finding a way to win the regular season matchup. That trend continues. I thought it might be different this year with the Chiefs being, I believe, the better team, and I still believe they're the better team, but they did not play like that in this game. The Bills absolutely pushed them around in the trenches. The offensive line just completely shut down this Chiefs defensive line, and the Chiefs offensive line got bullied. And I understand they had some injuries, and they still had a chance to win with like 23 seconds left, but at that point, the Chiefs had no timeouts. It was desperation time. Tyquan Thornton went up, almost caught a ball in double coverage, and ended up falling incomplete, and then on that fourth down play, it wasn't even close to the end zone. I guess that third down play, but the Chiefs just came up short. Again, in the regular season against Buffalo, they came out, with good tempo offensively, but it kind of just felt like they fizzled away, in the second half. And I think that this is something that I can't really explain. I don't know if it's something where Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid want to hold back some of the stuff that they would show in the playoffs, or they just didn't go out and execute. I don't know if it was an issue with execution, trying to hold stuff back for the playoffs, guys just not playing very well. I mean, we talked about how Buffalo just bullied them. That pass rush in Buffalo is not that good. They were missing Ed Oliver in this game. They were missing their other defensive tackle. They've got injuries all across the board, and you let like a 45-year-old Joey Bosa just completely destroy that offensive line. I can't believe that the Chiefs' offensive line, which has been better up until this point, just collapsed like that. And for Patrick Mahomes to be moving around in the pocket and finding ways to go downfield and even try to complete passes, I thought Mahomes played okay today. I don't think he was the issue. I think the issue is that the offensive line didn't do enough, work to block up front. And I also don't think that Chiefs defense did a good job at getting to Josh Allen, and they also couldn't get off the field. And when they did get off the field, Patrick Mahomes just gave it back to him. He did throw one interception with like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That really sealed the game for me. I understand that they had a chance with that 23 seconds left in the game, and we've seen the Chiefs beat Buffalo with 13 seconds, but the difference in that situation is they were down by 3, and they also had timeouts, and the Chiefs were down by a touchdown, and they had no timeouts. So it's a tough one to stomach. I still think the Chiefs are the better team. And maybe I'm crazy for believing that. I think if you look at how Buffalo beat the Chiefs, they beat them in the trenches. They beat them on the offensive line and the defensive line. And maybe this is a wake-up call going into the bye week that Brett Veach needs to go out and trade for a pass rusher. And it's pretty urgent because if it wasn't, third down, if it wasn't via blitz, the Chiefs had a tough time getting to Josh Allen, and James Cook just ran all over this defense. And I think that going into the game, that was Buffalo's philosophy. They just wanted to try to run the ball with James Cook because Josh Allen, being the great player that he is, doesn't have a whole lot to throw to. But if you just look at his efficiency in this game, I mean, he was 23 of 26 for 273 and 1 touchdown. But James Cook, 27 carries for $114. The Chiefs hadn't allowed 100 yards to a rusher since week 1 of last year to Lamar Jackson. They had that consecutive streak going. Well, James Cook just took a big old piss on that streak. He went for 114 yards and just killed them in this game. Josh Allen didn't really beat you with his legs. He had 6 carries for 19, but he also had 2 rushing touchdowns. So that definitely hurt. That tush push, I guess not even really a tush push. It's more of just a QB sneak with Josh Allen. It's so difficult to stop. Now, I'm going to be critical here because Patrick Mahomes was 15 of 34 for 250 and 1 touchdown. He was sacked 3 times in this game. I think that the QB hits are going to be a lot higher at the box score. Once we get those metrics, Buffalo was constantly getting to him, whether it was after the play or, just shoving him late. Joey Bosa was just hounding him. And so, Mahomes, I think they said it on the broadcast, had his worst completion percentage game of his career. So that's something that we're not used to seeing. But part of that is because he was just under attack all night. I'm going to be critical of the Chiefs' rushing attack. Kareem Hunt had 11 carries for 49 yards and 1 touchdown. It felt like they abandoned the run very quickly against a Buffalo defense that wasn't good at stopping the run coming into this game. They ranked 31 in the NFL in rush defense, and you were only able to muster 79 yards on 20 carries. I'm also going to go on another little rant. Why is Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting a carry in 2025? I understand that you're down with injuries to Pacheco and you don't like Elijah Mitchell, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 2025, you elevated him from the practice squad for this game. He had 2 carries for 5 yards and just got blown up on a couple of those. What are we doing? I don't understand why Andy Reid would stop running the football, especially when your quarterback is getting just destroyed when he drops back to pass. And I think that you saw them early on in the game move the ball. I mean, Rashee Rice had 4 catches for 80 yards. Hollywood Brown had 2 for 73. Travis Kelce had 4 for 66. Worthy had 3 for 23. You moved the ball. The issue is you were not able to convert those into points. That end of the half where Hollywood Brown caught that ball and he was just short of the end zone and the Chiefs were unable to cash that in for a touchdown. They had to settle for a field goal. That hurts. That really hurts when you lose by a touchdown. But I think as much as we want to talk about the offense struggling, the defense giving up 28 to Buffalo when they're throwing the ball to, Dalton Kincaid had 6 catches for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, the tight end? I mean, Khalil Shakir had 7 for 43. It was Dalton Kincaid and everybody else. He absolutely killed this Chiefs team. And how many times have we said that tight end absolutely crushed the Chiefs today? That seems to be a theme. Whenever the Chiefs get beat, it's normally a tight end. So Dalton Kincaid going crazy. That one definitely hurt. I mean, if you just look at some of the other receiving stats, Dawson Knox had 1 for 30. Elijah Moore, 1 for 28. The only guy that killed you was Dalton Kincaid and James Cook. That's who beats you. But the real issue is the Chiefs got, for lack of a better term, bitched in the trenches. The Chiefs' offensive line was bad in this game. I understand they were dealing with some injuries. We saw Mike Caliendo and Wanye Morris get put in this game. Caliendo due to injury, Wanye Morris due to injury. How is Wanye Morris still playing in the league? I genuinely do not understand. He is horrible, and you saw that holding call that ended up making that 2nd and short a 2nd and long. And that's the kind of stuff that, man, when you're down, when you're in a hole, you cannot have that. You just can't have it. And the Chiefs' offense did some remarkable things today. They went for it on 4th and 17 pretty early on in the second half, and they got it. I was like, I could not believe it. Their third down efficiency, they weren't horrible on third down, when they were behind, I guess probably 10 plus yards, but I felt like they were good in moments today. Now, it obviously wasn't enough. They only put up 21 points, but if we just look at the Chiefs, actually, they were horrible on third down. They were 3 of 13, and the Bills were 7 of 12. I apologize for that mistake, but the Chiefs were 2 of 3 on 4th down, and the Bills ended up going 0 for 1. But, that third down efficiency, that's putrid. 3 of 13, and Buffalo 7 of 12. That's also why you lost. I think it's pretty easy to see when, Buffalo had more total yards. They ran more total plays. They had the same amount of drives, but they averaged 6.3 yards per play to the Chiefs' 5.4. But I think you can really, boil this down to the Chiefs getting beat, in the trenches. They just got out-physicaled, if that makes sense. Like, they just did not show up to play in the trenches, and I think that's going to be tough going forward, because one thing I put out on Twitter, and I'm sensitive to the situation going on, even though we don't know what's going on with Josh Simmons, it would have been really nice in a game of this magnitude if your first-round draft pick, your starting left tackle, was able to play. And we just have no timeline for when he's going to return. He could return a month from now. He could return 2 months from now. He could be out the rest of the season for all we know. We have no timetable for Josh Simmons' return, but we could really use him on this offensive line right about now. Jalen Moore was good in moments. He was not great today. Jawan Taylor, before he left with that ankle injury, There was a play where Jawan Taylor got pushed back so far so quickly. I was like, that's just not even fair to him. And the pass rush, man. The pass rush gave Josh Allen so much time to sit back in the pocket and just dice them apart. I think if you could ask Steve Spagnuolo about the game plan and they found out that Josh Allen didn't really beat you with his legs, he did a couple times, but the fact that Josh Allen really only had one, receiver crack that 100-yard total, you're going to take that. The issue is that the Chiefs defense couldn't get off the field, and part of that is because they just ran the ball very well. James Cook coming into this game was coming off of like a 200-plus yard performance against Carolina. He showed the Chiefs defense something. But I do think it's not all doom and gloom. I've got some positives from this game, and I want to talk about those right after a word from our fantastic sponsors. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, and an ESPN Bet sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow their Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Huge thanks to the great sponsors that have supported me and this channel all football season long. And shout out to you guys for watching this content. We are just under 300 subscribers away from 15,000. So if you're still watching this video, hit that like button on this video, subscribe to this channel, and tell a friend to subscribe. But let's get into some of the positives because I understand the Chiefs lost a tough game in the AFC. You can kiss that 1 seed goodbye. I mean, I think the 1 seed is gone. That's not going to happen because now Buffalo has that tiebreaker, and you still got to play the Colts. You still got to play the Broncos twice. You are going into your bye week, and a much-needed bye week because you got guys that are banged up all across the board. I think the Chiefs are still a better team. I don't think we saw it today. I think the Chiefs got dominated, but I do think if the Chiefs were to play this game again, they would win. And I think that defensively, I do think that Spags pulled back a little bit. I think, part of it is just the lack of pass rush, and that puts so much pressure on Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. There were a couple times today where Chamari Connor and Noah Williams got picked on. That's kind of to be expected, but I do think the Chiefs are a better team, and offensively, they just didn't do enough today. And I don't think it's squarely on the offense because the defense couldn't get off the field, but that's why I think it's so encouraging because both sides of the ball need to get better. That was not a good showing. That was probably not good enough to beat most teams. The Bills are just an exceptional team that came out in this game and understood we got to play hard-nosed football. We got to be the more physical team, and they were, and that's why they won. But I think that we have learned over the last 5 years. In fact, the Chiefs have knocked out Buffalo from the playoffs 4 times out of the last 5 years. That's absurd. I mean, the Chiefs have won this game when it truly matters. It's a little bit frustrating because I thought that this was maybe the best Chiefs team that we've had going into Buffalo that had a chance to win this game. It's not what we saw. I think that playoffs are going to be different. If the Chiefs do see the Bills again, depending on whether it's in Buffalo or Arrowhead, the Chiefs have shown that when it truly matters, when it's important, they find a way to win. And I don't want to just lean back on that like, oh, the Chiefs, they always win in the playoffs and they always lose this regular season game. but I think there might be something to that. And I think that, the Chiefs are going to be in a better position offensively and defensively the next time they play the Bills. This is always the Bills' Super Bowl, and it's why they've won in the regular season, but failed to win when it actually matters. So I do want to get your thoughts down in the comment section below. The Chiefs fall to the Bills in Buffalo by the final score of 28-21. They're 5-4. They're 5-4 going into their bye week. You got a very important game against Denver after the bye, and then you play the Colts. You got to find a way to win those. You got to find a way to at least win one of them, and preferably against the Denver Broncos, who do not look very good offensively, and that could be a get-right game for the Chiefs defense. I'm not going to say that, I'm not really panicking after this loss because we've seen it too many times. Until we get proven wrong, and until this Chiefs team doesn't go into a playoff game completely buttoned up, I think it's kind of hard to panic about the regular season when for the last 5 years, we know the outcome. So it's okay, Chiefs Kingdom. Obviously, we would have loved to get that win, but I do think that after the trade deadline and they acquire a pass rusher and you get, your offensive line back and healthy and, you get that defense, more time, more snaps. Mike Pennell was back. He made a play in this game. I think they just need a little bit more time. The Chiefs are not going to be the same team in the playoffs in January that they are in Week 9. It's just not going to happen. And coming into this season, I thought the Chiefs were going to lose this game because guess what? They always lose this game. And if history has shown us anything, it's that the Chiefs are not strangers to losing in the regular season to the Bills. So that's kind of my thoughts on this game. Drop your take down in the comment section below. That's all I've got. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.